Hello, welcome to Cineverm. We're back. This is the spoiler section for the movie Upgrade,
Yes.
which we watched in cinemas.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the pictures.
And we bought slush.
Yeah, it was delicious.
We're real dehydrated right now.
And we know y'all have been missing us. We saw the 83 views. Got some rabid fans out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can start. So, what did you think for your oh no, because this is spoilers. So.
Spoiler, the movie was really good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any reviews online. Have you?
Yeah, I saw some reviews, and I saw that it was really pretty good movie.
Were you telling me that you saw that someone really liked the way they directed it?
Yes.
The whole movement?
Yeah, they were it had some really cool directing techniques, which that's why I'm trying to look up the director if I could say his or her name. But whatever, once my phone works, I guess we'll do it. But anyway, so yeah, we can talk about the directing because I think that was the best part of the movie.
Oh yeah, really, it was too.
So I really well, I don't know, it's I feel like you can walk a really thin line when you're trying to do really artsy stuff, like the shots where he's going up and the camera goes with him. I felt like that was 3 scenes away from being excessive, but it was still in the realm of really good.
Yeah.
It didn't do it every single time he moved. It was only in key moments. The whole last scene, to signify that the AI was more in control. So that was cool how that director used it with intention instead of just every cool shot, Yeah. So I thought that was really awesome. And that was probably my favorite part because it shows restraint.
You know how sometimes you tell me that you think of how you would make a difference?
Mm-hmm.
The whole time I was watching it, I was like, yeah, I would make it how you were saying.
All
all that shot. I would overdo it. I would cream everything out of it and just have something attached to that person's body the whole time when he's walking. You can see him moving so crazy.
Yeah, the shot makes it really look like a video game. Like Grand Theft Auto or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which makes sense because he's being controlled.
Yeah. So that was really cool. And it takes, I feel like you really know a good director when they figure out a really cool shot design or technique, and then they show that restraint, to not overdo it because it's so easy. And then that's when it turns really bad because then it ruins all the other moments. And all the following moments, you're oh my god, again.
Yeah.
This was really cool.
I've heard you say sometimes that the more, like you're saying, the more restraint you have, the more specific it is, the bigger the effect that it has.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, because then it means something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the directing was really cool. It was a lot better than I was imagining it to be because it seemed like a kind of not a cheap movie, but a tier below, huge blockbuster. I don't know what the budget they had for this movie, but I know it wasn't that big. So it's more lower tier movie. So it was really cool how much they actually managed to pull off, and it didn't ever look cheesy. I remember the first time the AI car pulled up.
Yeah.
I didn't like it because it was a very simple box. But then it grew on me and it fit with all the other cars. So it fit the aesthetic of the world as well. There was a lot of I don't know what the term is. It's the parallelism or something. I don't know. There's an art some artists do where it's it looks like diamonds are poking out of stuff and it's very voxel like.
Yeah.
So the whole film, all the sets and all the cars and all the tech had the same,
like a honeycomb look.
Yeah. It all had the same visual language, so it didn't bother me after that.
Yeah.
So I accepted it.
Because they owned it and they were like, this is part of this world. Speaking of the technology, I liked how all of the drones were constantly recording everything.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've never thought of how it will be in the future. And I feel like they use drones in a really cool way.
Yeah, that was really cool how they tackled.
Yeah.
Like the use of drones, and I like how they. There was a lot of possibilities for plot holes, and I like how they took them up front. Like, oh well, wouldn't a drone see him walking in that building? And it's like, oh yeah, we have to acknowledge that. And then that's where the cop lady comes in. Like she's kind of acknowledging all the plot holes that could have happened. So yeah, I agree. It was really cool, and I like how they even acknowledged that some characters had like firewalls that expanded to a certain area, kind of like what I imagine a hotspot would be, so it would block information that a drone could capture on them.
Oh, so information not just coming in but going out is blocked.
Yeah.
So it's like a safety zone.
Yeah.
Do you think that cafe or wherever where all the bad people, sketchy people were at, had that whole?
Yeah, and that's why it was like, because it showed a scene of the creator, I forgot his name, and he was like, it showed him his computer looking up his area, and it's like location off grid. So that place was like a black hole. And then the AI even said it, I don't see where they are or whatever.
Yeah.
And it makes sense why a lot of those people were hiding there. They're hiding from the police and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
The whole scene where they were just chilling, they all looked all hunched up and stuff. And then he was like, hey, listen up! And then he did his speech or whatever. It seemed kind of like I've seen it before. I can't pinpoint exactly what movie it was, but something like that happens.
Yeah.
Oh! The SpongeBob movie where he tries to get King Neptune's...
Oh, Spectre.
I forget what the name of it is. No, he's trying to get King Neptune's crown. And then they both walk in, and this is, I don't know, I'm embarrassed because I know this, but they both walk in, and then Patrick's like, hey, listen up, or something like that. And everyone looks at him, and he's like, where's the bathroom? And then he's like, over there. You know, like, he gets everyone's attention, and he gets and he wants to like get it. No, like he wants it to be a completely different reaction. But everyone just was calm and was like, yeah, it's over there, dude. You know. But the whole point of him doing that was to distract everyone. Yeah. I'm sorry. I watch a lot of kids.
Yeah. But yeah, that is a very like common scene. Like when you go to a location and everyone's like bad dudes and they're like, hey, listen to me or whatever.
But that's the thing, there were bad dudes, but a guy did assist him in his drink, like him with his drink.
Well, that's like I don't care how bad you are, you like feel kind of bad when someone who can't even move, you know,
wants a drink.
And talking about that, we can go ahead and talk about. I like how they tackled him being a quadriplegic or whatever. I actually like how he spent time showing that. I feel like most movies that has like this kind of like someone can't move and then they gain the ability to move and kill people or whatever, they kind of skip over that painful period of them not being able to move. So I like how the movie did spend like 15 to 20 minutes focusing on his loss and his loss of his girlfriend or wife, and then his loss of movement
and mind.
Yeah. And I like how they gave him some scenes of like him trying to kill himself with the PM medicine, stuff like that. I don't know. I like when they don't just brush it to the side. They actually try to dive a little bit deeper. So later on, it means a little more. So that was cool how they decided to do that.
Like you were saying, I like how they actually showed him wanting to kill himself instead of them just putting a scene where he says, I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then he's all, well, you just said it. I really like that. And my favorite scene, even though it like has nothing to do with like the action or whatever, is the part where he's sitting on the bed and his mom is washing him.
Oh,
and then he throws up, and his mom actually puts her fingers in his mouth, and then he's still throwing up. She's like, it's okay, it's okay. I don't know why, but I loved how raw it was, and it made me actually feel sorry for him.
why did she put her fingers in his mouth? To make him continue to
Yeah.
throw up? Okay. Yeah, I like that scene too. It made me feel kind of bad for him. It's like kind of shitty. And then it's really smart how he did that scene, and then he followed it up with him breaking down, crying. Like the following scene after that was him crying, so that was cool.
It was very well placed. I feel like if those two scenes, the one you're talking about, and the one I said, if those weren't there, I would have not really cared for him that much in some ways.
Yeah, I like how the film really built his character out. Like, in the beginning of the movie, I really didn't like his character. He seemed like the average, oh, I hate technology, and like, his dialogue was so cheesy. I was like, okay, this movie is gonna be super B-movie level. Like, and when I say B-movie, it's like straight to DVD, or like movies that play on TV that are very generic, like typical dialogue or whatever. The whole beginning relationship, I didn't buy it. Like when he's talking with the girl, like, I can get those pants off. I'm like, bro, this is like elementary level screenwriting or something.
Cheesy.
Yeah. So I'm really happy that as soon as she died, the like script got way better.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just like they focused so much on what they thought was interesting that the whole beginning they kind of rushed through it, and maybe they didn't go back and polish that dialogue up. But yeah, the beginning was really awkward for me. I was like, all right, let me get into this cheesiness, and maybe because some movies try to be cheesy on purpose, and it's kind of like the enjoyment of it. But this movie actually changed pace right after that moment.
Speaking of dialogue, I didn't like the way that the very smart guy talked.
Oh, the genius kid?
Yeah, the genius kid. I didn't like how he talked. And now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't really like his acting.
Yeah.
He had a really good role, and I think a good actor would have pulled it off very well. I don't know, it just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
Even the way his hair looked.
Yeah, he looked.
And the way he walked and stuff.
It was like they were trying too hard to make that character. They should have casted someone who already had that look. That guy looked kind of like a pretty boy or whatever, and then they try to make him look scrawny or whatever. I don't know. He just looked like.
To me, he looked. Sorry, keep going.
No, you can go.
Well, I was gonna say, to me, he looked like someone from Slytherin. Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, that's what I was
Potter
gonna say.
Guy.
Like what a future Instagram model dude would look like. That's what he looked like. Like he looked too. And then they try to make him all emo and stuff like, this is my cloud. I was like, okay, this is.
And you did you notice that they made him have bags at one point, but it wasn't real bags,
It was like makeup.
Yeah, it was makeup bags.
Yeah, I felt like there's a lot of actors. I can't think of their names right now, but I can't think of their names that would have been perfect for that role. That look scrawny, and they look like the kind of person that would develop that kind of technology. Like the dude from like Social Network. Like he would have been cool. Someone that has that very skinny, like their face is kind of weirdly shaped and like pointed. This guy, his face was too round. Like that's why he gave that like Instagram model look. Like he looked too pretty to do whatever. Yeah. So I feel like they really should have recasted him. But even the character itself, I thought was really weak. Like it was really generic. Like I created this or whatever, and it was just like, I don't know, it was just really cheesy. That guy.
And I want to say that if someone is up to that like level of smartness, they didn't separate the way he spoke was the same as everyone else. Usually, at least for me, I like to see a separation of they use more intellectual words, I guess that's what you would say.
Or more, because they even had this scene, if it's not through words, it could be through like how they speak.
Yeah.
And like in the part where he's in the hospital and he was like, I don't really know how to do this with people. I was like, that feels really forced. Like you don't have to say that. It can be obvious, and I didn't really feel it when he said it.
Yeah.
But like the Social Network, he speaks really fast. Or in other films, like in Ready Player One, the nerd character that built that AI VR game.
Yeah.
He was very like. He seemed very like secluded.
Yeah.
This guy didn't seem like that at all. In the way his body posture was, or in the way he actually spoke.
Do you think that might have been because it's not really his words, it's the AI telling him to do that? Because if I remember correctly, he was being controlled at that time.
Yes, but the AI can't control your words. So it's like the other guy, when AI was controlling him previous to that, he would still speak in his manner, and that's why he was always like, oh shit, I can't look, you know? Like, his personality is still him.
Yeah.
Until the AI completely takes over.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't really explain that either, why the AI couldn't have taken over anyone. Like, they did say that because they wanted someone without cybernetics, but then, like, why can't it take over another computer? It's just a cyber answer. But
I think it's because he wants
pure
to
human.
he wants to be untraceable.
Oh yeah, off the grid.
Yeah.
You could rip that cybernetic shit off.
No, because whenever those people were found and you saw the scene with the autopsy, there are some people who even had metal intertwined with their muscles. I don't think you could take that off and then that person survived. It looks really delicate.
Really.
Yeah.
Anyways, since we're talking about villains now, the other villain that really sucked was
that sucked.
What's it? The dude with the pedophile mustache. He was terrible. This is like the second pedophile in a row. Coming straight off the Tomb Raider. That dude looks like the Lara Croft's dad's best friend or something.
His eyes were like piercing through my chichis.
His performance was so unbelievable too. He was just like, I don't know, the mustache just looked, and his persona as well looked like it just didn't make sense. None of his henchmen looked cool to me either. It was very stereotypical. I would have rather had them looking more scrappy because they were supposedly outlaws, yet they looked like they were professionals, so I didn't get any of his shirt tucked in, so I was like, wait, are they like off the grid? Are they on the grid? They look like agents of some sort. I don't know.
Do you think maybe it's because some of them, they were like from the same group, but they were different tiers of that group? Because if you remember the first guy that they fought and ended up getting killed, he was living in a very poor area of town. And when they finally got to the other top guy, he was in a spiffy looking apartment, and he even mentioned it like, it's really clean in here. Maybe that's the difference with him.
He just had more money. I just didn't like his costuming. Like, his whole character design just looked really cheesy to me. There was definitely some weird casting, and maybe that's where the budget came up, is they couldn't find actors that fit their role perfect enough.
Like, do you feel like the actual detective lady didn't fit her part as well?
That's another casting. I did not like her character at all. Like, her character, I didn't believe any of her moments. The moments of her investigating, I just felt like she was kind of dumb. When she was questioning him, I felt like she was kind of dumb. Her, like, the way she was looking and stuff. Like, the AI was saying, like, oh, she noticed your footprint on the sand or whatever. And then, like, but her facial recognition didn't give that. Like, watch a movie like Prisoners, and you see how a detective looks, and you can see when they have a thought. And that's all, like, in here. And she was just like...
Or maybe she's that good, she doesn't have a thought.
Like,
she's super poker face at it. She's like...
In the script, it says, act terribly. So even the film goers...
Oh, no.
But she didn't do terrible, but I'm just saying, like, her character was another one that I felt could have been amped up a little bit. Not amped up, but, like, taken more serious. Like, I felt like this movie was like a B movie, like a tier below, but it had all the resources for it to be, like, at a higher caliber, you know? Like, if the director would have just pushed them a little bit more and made them act more internal or something instead of saying stuff out loud, it would have been better.
Well, what it makes me think of is whenever we were listening to the Guillermo del Toro interview, where he talked about how he gives every person some like a whole list of what their character would be like.
Like
Maybe
a backstory.
yeah, like a backstory. And I feel like all those people really were trying their best.
Yeah, it's a lack of motivation, or like your character's motivation. Like, what is my character trying to say by saying this?
Yes.
And then like it's a communication thing. Like, you want me to be like, and like you want me to be afraid.
Yeah.
But what am I afraid of?
Yeah.
Like, I can't just be like, you know, like.
Because it comes out generic.
Yeah, but if you have a specific thing, like, I'm scared he's gonna stab me, you know, your eyes, maybe you would look at the knife directly, and then kind of like, you know, like, you would imagine how you would actually react to a specific. That's what the Greta Gerwig was saying. Like, I give him a specific end result.
Yeah.
Or no, a specific thing, and then the end, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Visually, I feel like he is still finding his style.
Yeah.
But maybe he should work more on like the characters.
Yeah. Well, the one character I think he did get perfect was the main actor.
Yeah.
But that makes sense because they spend so much time with him. His motivation is very clear and it's very specific. But and the mom, but she was very generic.
The
too.
Mom.
So many different realities.
What's going on? Tell me right now.
Oh, that. Yeah.
That whole part where she was spilling all the beans in like a kind of indirect way, but a direct way.
But, like,
I wanted to slap her like.
well,
Shut up.
that felt like the screenwriter was like, shit, how am I gonna get the cop to find out all the information? Like,
Yeah.
oh, the mom. Why are you walking now?
Yeah.
Did you get it from STEM
Oh my god.
on 23rd and 2nd Boulevard in between those two rock structures?
Oh. Yeah.
That whole scene
Fuck
was
the mom.
very cheesy though, because why didn't the AI assume that the agent was outside the house tapping in? It's very obvious that she was going to do that after he said, listen to my phone calls. And the next thing you're going to do is have a very private conversation out loud like that?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Yeah, I felt like the AI was... It's very hard to write something that intelligent, because I'm thinking how I would tackle those problems.
Yeah.
And I've like written a story similar to that, so I know like shit, this thing knows everything, so how do I make it like still have drama, you know, even though it's like all powerful,
but not give it so much of a leeway to where it doesn't look realistic.
But the screenwriter did good in some parts because he acknowledged like the drone stuff, you know, that's something that is all seeing and you acknowledge it. And that like the AI at times was really smart. Like when he first did the first murder, I cataloged all the fingerprints. I was like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
So like why wouldn't it, like that shows that the AI is thinking steps ahead. Yet that whole detective thing was a very loose thing. It was just like, it was adding like a third wheel that I didn't really even think it needed. Like the detective arc was very dumb to me, and I wish it would have played the detective up as a very smart person. My biggest thing was they had a perfect setup to have three things colliding, which is like a really cool thing when you have a story and you're like, all right, I have this character and they want this result, and then this character wants this result, and then this character wants this result, and then you can add drama by colliding the paths. Like the AI wants to be human, but in his way is a detective and the creator. I never felt like the creator or the detective had any real counter force against him, you know? And like it could have added a shit ton of drama if the detective was really smart, planting seeds and like actively in the film preventing certain things from happening, where the AI was like, shit, I didn't predict that, you know, let's recalculate or rethink. And then the detective also, like, them kind of one-upping each other and like crossing and just like disrupting each other's plans, because the AI had just a clear road the whole movie. And I get it's all seeing and all thinking, but it's not when the detective got that far. And then it just seems stupid. Like, you might as well made the detective smart enough to where it was earned if you were gonna have that, you know. And then the creator, he's so smart in creating an AI, and he can shut it down, but he can't, like, that didn't make sense, you know. Like, and why didn't he create a failsafe? Like, why couldn't there, like, and it was already in his whole house. I don't know, it just seemed he seemed very powerless, but it didn't really explain why he was powerless, because he was able to shut it down, from a distance. So like, how could you do that from a house that is supposedly controlled by him as well?
No, I think it's like a single file,
Oh, okay,
and he
yeah.
moved it into the chip. And
But it
then
was
the
also in
chip
his ear.
moved.
It was also in his ear.
I think no.
He had a stem.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah.
So why did the stem let him? I mean, I would rewatch this movie. Okay, so we're done talking about the AI. We can talk about the lead actor. I thought he did really good. His performance emotionally was actually way better than everyone else.
Oh, yes.
And I didn't like him at first, but then I liked him towards the end. I like how they made him kind of squeamish with all the like killings and stuff. So that was a cool element, and it didn't ever feel forced. It felt like a really cool reaction. I love. Not only was his emotional and whatever performance really well, but his physical performance was what really sold the movie. Because if at any point he seemed unbelievable in the way that he wasn't in control of his body, the movie would have flopped like banana peels. So it like that initial fight scene was perfect in setting that whole AI thing up and how he was moving and stuff. And he did a really good where I don't know like what kind of training you got, probably like dance, but it seemed very like, like you probably learned how to do the robot really well, because it's very like move your limbs independently but really fast, and then like kind of shift. And
it did look like a dance.
Yeah, so he did it awesome. So whoever the choreographer was that was instructing him, and the fight choreography was really good too.
Oh yes.
And that whole scene, well, the whole intro scene was like perfect, and then the whole plate thing, and then like his core stood still, and it was just like that. I can imagine how difficult that would be. Capturing it and then making look as visceral as it did, but yet you still is still, and then his face. Like it's three things you're working on, your body mechanically wise, and he did it really well.
And I like how they specifically made that kitchen very small to where it was believable, where he could just reach his arm out this way and reach his arm out this way and then grab something, and just be like, I love that part.
And I love how practical it was, because I imagine, like, why wouldn't you break all those plates on them? Like, because in some movies, people are like, they punch, and it's like, well, there's a thing of knives right there, or plates right there.
Yeah, like, why wouldn't you use it?
Yeah. So.
I liked how when he at that first fight scene, when he was talking to the AI, he's like, oh, he has a knife, and then the AI was so calm. He was like, we do too.
Yeah.
And then that guy was screaming in pain for like half a second, and then I guess whatever happened, and then the AI ended up killing that guy.
Oh, that was such a beautiful kill shot too. Like the putting it in his mouth and then just cracking it. I would have gone all the way, but I like how they stopped halfway.
It made it look way worse.
Yeah. It made it look more realistic, because what I would have done was cut through his whole skull, and that would have made it feel too much. Like, would it really cut like that? You're leaving kind of doubt, but cutting to where you can literally imagine what it would look like is a very smart thing to do. Yeah. So I should keep that in mind when I'm cutting people's stuff off.
Oh no. It makes me feel of how powerful our body really is, because the AI pushed his body to the limit just far enough to where he could get punches deflected, but not too far to where he ended up looking like he bruised up. Like, I really like that.
Yeah.
Just how even, I don't know, like his whole tactical movements of when it was AI against the other main villain that you were talking with the mustache, how they were like fighting, and it looked so cool. And I liked the impact noise. It sounded like very thick clothing, and I don't know, it just made it more real to me, and I really liked it. And how in the end he was like, we have we have exhausted all tactical defense.
I didn't like that part, because I've written that same scene and I took it a different way, because it's like I guess it makes sense because the AI is trying to live and mine's different, so never mind. But I didn't like that final part, because you know, they're like, don't let your emotions get control of you, showing the human loss. And then when he was like, I guess the first person he killed was his brother. I didn't believe that. I felt like they should have elongated that, like him talking shit about the brother more, like throughout the fight, like him kind of seeding that in, and maybe the AI thinking we need to break him down emotionally. Like that seemed like something the AI would predetermine, not the main character.
Because he already knows, like you were saying,
Human weakness, because he mentioned it. So I thought that would have been a really cool thing implanted, like on the low, and then it being brought up. And I just didn't buy how fast he got angry, and then he was like, "I'm gonna punch you instead of shooting you." Like, and what I do in my things is when someone really wants to hurt someone, they don't punch; they physically physically, like, stop them physically from moving. So like, and like how I would have wrote it, he shoots his knee out.
Incapacitate.
Yeah, incapacitate him.
If that is it.
Yeah, because in my mind, if I really want to hurt someone, I want to make them immobile, so then I can punch them
The idea.
until they die, you know? So it just felt too easy, and I wish it would have made that fight a little longer. And then I didn't like his death scene where it was just glass on the back. It seemed very cheap compared to the knife kill. Was very original, or I liked how it looked and the physicality of it. I wish it was a more like, I don't know, I wish it would have had the AI butting heads in the final death more, you know?
No, I thought that scene really hit for me because on the other kills, those people died while he was looking away, and it didn't hit me as hard as this one because he was staring into that man's eyes while he was gone. That's what really did it for me, and I thought it was good because of that reason. And then that's when he was completely out of control from the AI, and he was absorbing everything, even the deaths. Even though in the first one he was like, I killed someone, I need some time.
He didn't really kill him.
And that, and this one, it felt like he killed him, and that's when his mind was breaking. He was like, I can't do this anymore. He had that thought in his mind, in my opinion. And then he didn't really fight back because he was having that thought, like, I can't do this anymore, and he was giving up.
Yeah, that's a cool. I didn't think about that, but that makes a lot of sense. I still think the thing that killed him could have been better than just the physics episode. You could have still had that face-to-face reaction with a cooler shot, like something where he's committing it. I know he pushed them onto the ground, but like you know those deaths where it's like some like soldiers killing another soldier, and it's like, oh, and you're like, whoa, you pushed it too far. Like I wish you would have had that emotion, like, whoa, you went there, dude. Like that's human. That ain't AI right there. So the other part I didn't like, since we're talking about his kills, was when he was torturing the guy in the bar, and then he heard the sound of like, and blood was like spraying over him. I was imagining what happened. Like I imagined both ears being cut off because it kind of hinted at it. So I was like, all right, cool. We're gonna see 2 ears cut off, maybe some carved flesh, nose cut off, maybe lips. Okay, you know, maybe an eye. Okay, how far is this guy gonna go? And then when it was like, it was holding the reveal, like how gross he cut him up, and I was hoping either he shows it really bad for a split second, or he doesn't show it and it's just our imagination. But what they ended up showing was so cheap. Like it was just like some makeup, and his ears were still intact. For me, I thought, I was like, really, dude? Like, you really played that scene up, like the sound effects and his face and how long he was carving. It was just cuts, very thin cuts.
No, for me, I imagined something way worse.
No, I know what I imagined, but what it looked like didn't look that bad.
No, I'm saying what it looked like was way worse than what I imagined.
Well, it didn't land for me. I thought it was very disappointing. I was actually like, I wanted more. I don't know.
I wish
because the reason I wanted more is because it teased the ear. Like that was a very clear visual thing, you know? And then it's like, let me do it. And then it was still behind the ear. So like at least cut off the ear. Like that's, I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, it was a disappointment.
I liked how he was like, stop, and then the AI was still doing his own thing and kept stabbing him, and then he was like, stop, and he stopped or whatever.
That was a cool like. You're not
He
in
doesn't
control.
notice he's not in control. Yeah, that's what I liked.
I wish they would have sprinkled more of that, and maybe on a rewatch we would see more moments like that.
Yeah.
So maybe it is in there, but that is a cool like. The music, I didn't really notice the music, but I remember I did like some parts. So I'm just gonna say the music was good.
It was very low key.
I didn't really like that chase sequence on the highway. It felt really cheap to me because it was like the same angle. It's like this was a constant, and the camera was here, and I was like,
Yeah.
like it felt like this whole shot. I mean, they're on a budget, so maybe I'm critiquing it too much, but it seemed like they were like, all right, we're doing the highway thing. And then they would do this, and they did it like 6 times, and then they cut it, and then they used that, and they just cut in between where the highway was, but it was the same look. And then, I don't know.
What do you think about how that car sequence ended?
Oh, with the AI car going?
Yeah.
That was very predictable.
So you didn't like, well, I'm asking more of how the detective opened the door and got out immediately, and then next scene she was at the mom's house.
Yeah, that's what I really don't like about some movies is they add all this drama, suspense, like this car's gonna crash into this car, and then it's like, and you're like, whoa,
no real effect.
And then they walk out and you're like, and it's like the carving thing, like you're, whoa, shit's going on. This guy can't look. I hear sounds against metal. Like is he hitting bone? Yeah. And then you see it and it's like there's no payoff, or like a fight scene and then the character walks out like normal. You know, like I really like having that finality, like her having a limp for the rest of the movie. Or like her arm being really fucking broken.
Or like dislocated or something.
Like I love, you know, one of the people that really get that right where actions have a lot of weight, or the reaction. Well, John Wick was good, but the king of it is Jackie Chan. If you look at any Jackie Chan fight, every time he gets hit, they hold on to the reaction of a hit more than they hold on to the hit.
Yeah.
And that's like, I wish all movies would take that into account. Like when something like a car crash happens, like yeah, you spray paint all over them and they look bruised, but like have that have a forever effect and like hold on to that moment, because then it sets up in the reality of the film, like when crazy shit happens, people are gonna be hurt. So when the next car accident happens, they're like, fuck, they're going twice as fast. Yeah. Or the next fight scene, like, fuck, they're punching twice as hard. You know, like they add up like a Monopoly piece, you know? So after that I was like, okay, it's just but most movies do it, so it's average, but we should be talking about what people should be doing, pushing themselves.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the ending, since you mentioned the ending earlier.
That's what I was gonna say. Let's talk about the real spoiler.
The ending.
The ending.
Well, so I like the whole, like if I think about it too hard, I feel like the whole plot would break down. So I'm not gonna think about it too hard. But the whole, like, I don't know, the whole ending was very undramatic. Like I felt like the most dramatic scene was the when he killed the guy who actually physically killed his wife, and then you had this whole extra moment with the AI creator, and then like it just felt so flat. Like his the AI creator, like I don't know, I didn't feel that much drama. And then the police detective, like why he was trying to save her so much, like why. I felt like his character would have been like, run, get out of here, or whatever.
Because he still has his voice.
Yeah, and I know physically he was trying to like help her, but why didn't he say, get out of here, I can't control, he said I can't control my body. But he should have been like, get out of here, he's going to kill you if you interfere. And then, like it was so, and then her detectiveness didn't make sense because she was like, I have no leads. And it looked like she gave up on the case. Yeah. But then as soon as this dude's all like up in the joint, she's like, oh, here's my case. The person I'm working for, guilty. Like it seemed very ass backwards. Like
Yeah.
how the detective her workload.
Well, I wanted. Oh, to me, the real spoiler was how the AI said that he broke his mind, and then he ended up in like a dream sequence where his wife was touching him or whatever, and he could feel it.
I really like that because it planted that from the beginning.
Yeah.
The first dream, it wasn't a dream. It was the AI beginning to construct the VR world.
Yeah.
So I imagine every time he fell asleep, the AI was actively like, all right, let's see what
really triggers his mind stuff.
And like make it real. And then the AI was like, got it. The first time it's like, no, that was real. And the AI was like, damn, I'm a good coder.
Yeah.
I even got her fucking teeth right, and I didn't even see that shit. So as soon as I saw that dream sequence, I was like, oh, I know what's going on. So it wasn't that big of a plot twist for me, but I could see that it was a cool element.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't think that first dream was the AI, but it makes so much sense now that you say the AI planted it there. It's just, I was just thinking like, damn, he actually broke his brain. And now he's feeling shit. Like he's gone insane.
Yeah. I wish the AI would have planned to that piece of dialogue more, like if you try to keep yourself together. And it's like detectives do it, like they try it like when someone's interrogating someone, they you have to push them to not tell you, and then they break and tell you. You know what I'm saying? So the AI is actually like, I need to really break his emotional state down. So I keep reminding him to be strong. So he tries as hard as he can. So I know for sure it is broken as most it can be,
Yeah.
So I wish I would have been planning that. Like, you need to make sure you have keep your head clear, stay focused, keep your emotional state right, because we're going to be getting there,
I kind of like how he didn't say that, because just how the detective was learning him, and just like you said, you push them enough to not tell you, and then they tell you. If you recall the two instances where he ended up yelling at the detective, why don't you just stab me? She was like, you were there because that guy got stabbed. That's the biggest wound in his body. And that's when he was the most suspicious to her because of those things. And then another one is like, why don't you just let a computer do it? When he was like just laying there, I think that was both a hint enough to the AI that this guy's weak, that he will break him easily, and to the detective, like, this guy is involved in this. And I kind of like that. That the AI didn't tell him he wasn't coaching him, because then in turn it would make it harder for the AI to take control of the main character's mind.
Yeah. That's really smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I noticed. I don't know if it was intentional.
Yeah.
But it seemed very, it seemed like something that was poking out at me.
Okay. And then, I didn't really like the whole flashback. Like, you reveal the thing, right? And a lot of movies do it. I felt like this one did it maybe like 5 seconds too long, where it's like, you were the one that killed my wife. And then it's like, it shows the direct scene from that moment. And it's like, you were the one that was in control me. And then you show like 3 scenes of the AI being in control.
Yeah.
I felt like they could have toned that down, like, to just say, you were the one that killed my wife. And then maybe if you really wanted to show some scenes, 2 or 3 scenes, but show them differently, from a different perspective, like a different camera angle or whatever.
Definitely.
I felt like the movie that did that well was Tully.
Yes.
But I don't want to spoil it for anyone. So,
Tully was a good movie. Watch it and you'll know what he's talking about.
But I like
the different perspectives.
Yeah, how it shows different perspectives.
Yeah.
That's all we'll say, because I don't want to spoil it, because I feel like that movie would be ruined. But anyways, so I felt like this guy could have done the same thing. Like, if you are going to go that route where you're going to really force it upon someone, like, as a definitive, the AI was the one. Like, you don't really have to show 20 scenes. Like, the audience gets it. So if you are gonna show the scenes, add something different to where it's like it's adding an emotional thing to it. So.
Or it's putting him in a deeper conundrum to where it's making it harder.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Well, I was actually thinking about a very specific scene on 3 Billboards, how the could be rapist of her daughter was getting closer to her, and she was like, "Was it you? Was it you?" And she was trying to make sure 100% before she attacked this guy, and giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm saying this because in this movie that we watched, he was on the floor and the black guy was over him.
Oh, yeah,
and he was like, "Was
thing.
it you?" Like, I just want to hear. I want to know if it was you.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't hit me as good as in 3 Billboards. Yeah. And I felt like that was one of the times where it felt very flat for me.
Because it's literally the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's very cool now that you bring it up, comparing those two. Like, in reality, this one had more to work with.
Yes.
Like, it had weapons there.
Yeah.
And yet in the other one, I felt way more terrified of what was going to happen. Like,
oh, yes.
Someone's about to die, you know, like setting up the tension.
I think it, sorry, go.
No, that's it.
Oh,
setting up
okay.
Like, it's so different, yet the other one had zero, like, danger signs, yet it felt more dangerous.
I feel
because of the performance and the way it was set up.
Do you think it also had to do with the camera angles and how it was shot? Because I feel like this one kind of used a more cinematic angle that made it look cool, but it didn't make it feel what it was trying to make you feel.
Yeah, the only times where I felt like I was in the perspective of the main character, and by the main character I mean the AI, was when those cool things. But when it was the guy, it was a very simple theatrical look, you know, like the pretty medium to close-up shots, the lighting is like perfect, and then very stable. And then, I don't know, I never really felt like he had an eye for the simple scenes. Like, he seemed like he was very excited for the action scenes and he had thought those through, but then all the in-between scenes of dialogue or even drama like that scene, he didn't really think, how can the composition really show off the threat or the drama? Or pay it off visually as well, because, you know, like, you can set up, like, wide shots, and then when you have the moment to hit, that choice is being made, you can shoot it really close or really far, and then it could have separate effects.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I didn't feel like he was using all the tools that he had in his tool bag.
Yeah.
But for the action scenes, you can see he had an eye for that.
Yeah.
So
I think in my opinion, he kind of did feel flat in the action scenes, in my opinion, especially whenever the AI was in control, because I assumed the AI would use the guy's full body, but he never used kicks. It was always hands and maybe knees, but it wasn't never like a kick. And I'm sure, he did the tumbling. Yeah. Well, aside from that, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like if you were to add kicks, then he would the whole phrase of him saying we've exhausted all possible moves.
I didn't believe that moment. I felt like that moment would have happened. Like, I don't understand why the AIs would stop fighting.
Yes, I don't.
They both want to survive. So that's why, like, in my version, when I wrote that, it was never them stopping. It was them reaching a point of immovability, like both of their arms broken, and then the AI saying, you know, whatever, like, we're going to lose, and then that being the human, like, because the human can go past death, where a computer can only calculate to its finality, where humans can, I feel like, go past the finality and do, like, self-sacrifice or something like that. And the thing I didn't like was the handgun. It was so played up to be this cool, like, weapon. It was very cheesy. I didn't like it at all, how it looked or the use of it. But
I would have been able to aim that shit so well.
Well, it should have been used in, like, a physical, like, it's a part of your body. So, like, it should have been, like, an extension of you. So, it should have been, like, you know, like... And, like, and I wish he would have nailed a shot. And that's what I'm talking about. When a fight happens, have some like finality in it. So like maybe when they were fighting and they were like, and then like, and then it shoot through his arm, and then like it'd be like, fuck, this is going to the limit. And then I wish the end would have been like this, and then the other character like blocking or something, and then him saying, "We have run out of all resources," and that's when he can say, "Your brother cried like a little bitch, bro," and then and then that him closing his fist into a punch, and that could have, you know,
like I want you to live a little longer to hurt.
Yeah.
But
that tool was not used. Like I hate it when someone has this all-powerful weapon and then they don't use it.
Maybe it didn't have bullets.
But it did, because he was gonna shoot him one last time.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
The part that I really was even more grossed out of in the fighting scenes was the guy, they broke the guy's arm, and then he like you were saying, they actually used the handgun, and then it pointed to his face, and then it exploded. That was so fucking cool. But whenever you think about how the woman died, like they just shot her and it was like a clean hole. It wasn't the same impact as with the head. It wasn't like,
yeah, it was a very big like it didn't show it being a different bullet, so like
you assume that it was the same.
Yeah, and then the head explosion was like,
yeah, it was so dramatic.
Like it looked like from Wind River, that 50 cal sniper.
Oh yeah,
like,
that shit was so intense.
So,
and that thing was more far away than this one. So in reality, that lady got shot at a very close proximity.
Yeah. But now that you bring up that hand shot, that was probably my favorite kill. Was using something that you've already planted as a thing, and then using that as like, it makes it like, ooh, nice.
Oh yeah.
It's like
it kind of exceeded my expectations too.
Yeah. So like now that you brought that up again and it's in my memory, I don't even excuse the final fight, because that guy, it was like, oh, this guy's gonna be a pro with the gun because he's used it the most, and then they never use it like as a, like they should have at least, I don't know. That's very disappointing now. Yeah, it's like there was so much hit and miss. Like the first kill, hit. The carving with the dude in the bar, miss. The kill with the face, hit. And then the final fight scene should have been like the big blam, like holy damn, and it was totally missed. And then the final, when he kills the detective and I guess the other agent dude, those were both very lazy kills.
But don't forget about the guy who was at the bar and those things went up his nose and they cut him from the inside.
Oh, where the villain did that?
Yeah.
That was that kill was very dumb. I was like, okay, they're setting up the sneeze thing, and then he brought it up again by, I can kill you with my breath, and it didn't show him use it. So like, why are you gonna use it in the previous scene? And like in the biggest battle, your characters are gonna use all they have, and you have, if you show them with a nice shiny sword, they better use that shiny sword in the final fight. Like, bruh, like that's
or how you were saying.
Like I can already imagine how I would choreograph it. Like maybe him like breathing out, and then the other AI like closing his mouth, and then like capturing it, and like, and the thingy's like crawling on his skin or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like those are really cool tools that you can use in unexpected ways.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I've seen scarier hands in Pan's Labyrinth when that guy had hand eyes. That was more scary to me than this guy having a gun on his hand. In my opinion, that was way more scary, way more intense.
What? Now that I'm thinking about, I would have it would have been cool in the final fight. He would have broke his arm off, got his hand, and then shot his hand at him.
You think it would have worked like that?
Yeah, you just press.
That there's so many different realities here.
Oh, that's how it...
No, I don't know.
Oh.
But yeah,
because that's what he did when he broke that guy's arm.
Yeah,
he broke it and then
he shot it.
Twisted it like fucking like this.
Yeah, because
shot it at the guy.
Here there's a button that says shoot.
I didn't see a button.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, it doesn't make sense how he shot it.
You can force it.
Yeah.
I guess like the flex is like.
You hit the funny bone.
Oh yes. There's a secret button right there. I don't know.
Now that scene makes no logical sense now, but still a cool scene.
Oh yeah, that head explosion was.
That was awesome. It reminded me of like that's I love like I'm trying to think of the best payoff was the moment in Drive where he's kicking the dude's elevator in the elevator and it shows his sandwich skull. That's what I was expecting in the bar scene. Like I was like, fuck, you went there, bro. And then I'm like, and I'm just happy. Like you satisfied my movie heart, and then this one let me down.
And I don't. Another part that I really didn't like. Do you remember when those two people were going up the elevator and then he shot through the wall and then it killed them or whatever?
Yeah.
I didn't like that. Yeah.
That actually proves that his handgun had huge bullets because they were shooting through concrete walls.
Yeah.
And then that was the guy that shot the wife.
Yeah.
So
it wouldn't make sense.
And that hole was very small.
Yeah.
Like her body was not that big, and the hole was like I don't even think a pistol would do a bullet hole that small. Now that would have been cool if they would have ripped her whole arm off, and then it'd been like. It's really interesting because this Blumhouse, one of the production houses, they do horror movies.
Scary movies.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, we're gonna get some cool kill shots.
Yeah.
And then that 2 of them were cool, and then the other ones were very like.
Yeah.
I would have really pushed that because that gets people talking. Like, dude, those kill scenes, bruh.
Yes.
You know, like that's what you're kind of wanting. So.
Yeah.
I would have. Yeah.
What I was gonna say is that I also hated the whole hacker part. We can't let them win.
Oh yeah, that was like, what is that building up to? I thought they were gonna add a whole like in Ready Player One, like we're the outlaws and the VR thing. I thought they were gonna add a whole another element, but then that was just a toss away. And then her character was weird, like you put me in a binary box or whatever. To like, am I a man or a woman? Like it felt like their future was past that.
Yeah.
To where like I feel like that's our time.
Yeah.
Is the figuring
gender.
Yeah. I feel like in even 5 years, that will be like a non-topic kind of thing.
Yeah. Did you like the costumes?
No. And then now that you're bringing up that futuristic hacker girl, she looked like from the time period, and everyone else didn't really look like it didn't have their costuming. The costuming was terrible. Like the set designs, they stuck with a format and they implemented it, like the voxel design. And then like that dude, from the very beginning, he looked like an average dude that works on cars, and I get it, but
that's his style.
Yeah, but then his girlfriend looked like an average businesswoman, and then the bad guys, they just looked like pedophiles, and it's like no one had a real like what was the vibe clothing wise, you know? Like if you think about her, they had a very specific style, and you're like, oh, that's the fad in this time period. Every character looked very different, and there was not even a like even in right now, if you were to get like a goth, a prep, whatever different like styles of clothing, there would at least be one thing that is tangible, like a through line, because it's now.
Yeah.
And I felt like
tight clothing.
Yeah, or
I mean skinny jeans.
Yeah, or like a piece of jewelry, or like a certain material of clothing, like a cloth or a leather.
Yeah.
Something like right now, everyone is wearing like at least one thing that's you can signify. Oh, that's from this time period. And I felt like their costuming and clothing design was very just like they didn't think about it enough.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
Now that you're thinking about it, I'm thinking about
it.
Yeah. And it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to the whole final end where he's in a dream world.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if. Well, I told you that sometimes I have dreams where I feel like I'm in a dream, but I feel stuff, and it made me feel weird, like watching that.
Like maybe you're in a VR game.
I don't know, but it's like you wake up from a dream and you're still in a dream.
What's real?
Yeah, and especially when you feel something.
I would have rather the movie ended 3 minutes earlier and ended on that dream. Oh, that's the last thing I wanted to talk about was the whole fight at the end. All right, the fight with the AI creator, lame as shit. The fight with the detective, lame as shit. But I was like, all right, they're gonna nail the fight within himself.
Yeah.
Like that moment where he shot himself, that happened way too quick, and it was never like him. I wanted that internal rage. Like I want to keep my body, but I don't want you to keep doing whatever you're doing. And then like I never felt that like drama reach a finality.
Oh yeah.
And then the way it would just pull the trigger and then he woke up.
Yeah.
I wish it would have been like a very emotional thing, like us visually seeing him break.
Yeah.
Because the suicide thing, there was no emotional break there. He's tried to commit suicide before. I wanted to see him in tears, screaming, you know, like, and then the AI being like, I wish the AI would have faked it, like you want me, or I don't know, like I need you to give me full control, like him kind of fake it out, and like very like I need verbal permission to have full control, and I will auto delete you or whatever, and then he's like no, or I don't know. Yeah. I wish it would have been more of a mysterious thing, and then it would have ended on the emotional finality of him breaking, and then it will cut to black, and then him waking up and as a dream, and then him acknowledging. Yeah. And that whole scene would have lasted way longer, like 10 minutes of him like, you're not fucking real. And then she's like, you're crazy right now. What's wrong? We got in a car accident. And like, there was this thing in my head, an AI thing, and then she touches head, you have nothing back here, touch it yourself. Yeah. And he's like, and then there was this like, whatever, and then it's like, do you want me to call Alex? Like, I can call him. And it's like, yeah, call him, and then call him, and like, I wanted to see how a normal person would react. Because he was way too accepting. Yeah. I wanted him to like hella doubt it, and then you as the audience are like, oh shit, the whole movie was a fucking dream. And then it kind of ending, and then maybe like one thing was off. Yeah. Like it wraps the whole thing up in a pretty bow, and then you leave maybe a shot of doubt. Like at the ending of Inception, the thing is spinning, and then it kind of but then it cuts. Yeah. And you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah,
like,
it makes you question yourself.
Yeah. And then that would have been the movie that did the same thing was Annihilation, where it ended, and then it's like she's all like, hello, and then they like kiss or whatever, and then it zooms into their eye, and then it's like, not only that, it zooms into her eye, and then they're like, let's begin. Like, well, okay, like, fuck.
Like, there's no.
Is there an owner's manual with this too? Like, how much more do you want to tell me?
Are you gonna show me their kids that they already made?
Like, show me a damn blueprint.
Yeah.
God, I hate when movies just like
spoil everything.
Yeah. Well, this one like where he was like, I'm in full control, and he walks away like. Like leave it hanging, you know, like you can leave it hanging in a very interesting way where it's still pretty definitive that it's alive, and you have a more emotional, and then it works in an advertisement thing too, because then people are talking about the movie like, oh, did you think that's how it ended? It's like, bro, it's obvious that the AI is alive. It's like, well, no, not really, because that cup had water in it. I don't know.
That cup had water? But, oh no.
Yeah, the ending could have really, like, if they would have really nailed the ending.
Oh yeah. But I don't know. I feel like this movie was good.
Yeah, it was good.
I would think it's like a I don't know, like kids would watch this.
Oh yeah. Like if I was a teenager, like if we would have brought Jack, he would have loved that selection. He would have been on that like turkey jam.
Turkey jam. Oh, coming up with flavor. That mayonnaise pizza.
Do you have anything else to say, or
no?
Should we end these spoilers?
I mean, do you think there's any more spoilers? Everyone dies. Yeah. Except for the AI, obviously. Oh. And then he licks his finger, licks the blood. Yeah. Like, he turns vampire.
Oh, that was cheesy as hell.
He turns vampire. Okay, calm down. He didn't, like, swab his mouth.
That's what human blood tastes like.
No.
It's probably gonna, like, jerk off right after that.
Whoa, jerk off.
And he's all about being human.
Yeah.
Like, that AI is sick. He's probably a pervert. Who sucks on their finger? What? Not even bad guys do that.
Yeah.
Cheesy bad movies.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, we'll end it with that.
And I wish I would have planted a little seed of what his, like, I know his purpose was to be human, but why be human? Like, you're gonna die in a human shell. And I wish it would have been like, maybe he wanted something else, like world domination.
That's true. Like, there was no motive.
Yeah, like, what was the AI's motive?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
See, there's another,
Like, usually there's a motive, and they think that what they're doing is the best, and they're not in the wrong.
Yeah, like in Annihilation, the aliens' motive was to change everything.
Yeah.
In a perfect harmony.
Yeah.
And that's
or even in the superhero movie we just watched, Infinity War.
Oh yeah, the motives were very.
Yeah, like it's very clear.
Yeah. But yeah. The director's name was Lee Wayno.
Wiener?
Wayno.
Wayno?
Yes. And it's a he. I thought it was a girl when I first saw Lee, but it's a male director. But yeah.
He did a good job. I don't know if it's his first movie or second movie, and hopefully you don't get mad, but I don't know. We gave like honest.
Yeah, we're trying to help you out, bro.
Because we're professionals.
We're professional.
I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah.
For sure, I think he did a good job.
Yeah.
Whatever he tried to pull off, he pulled off. Yeah.
Well, that is our Cineverm spoilers for Upgrade. Oh, the movie should have been called STEM, by the way. But, yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure there should be another movie out there called
I don't care.
STEM.
Upgrade, it made no sense. The title did not make sense with the movie because they never, like, are you upgraded?
They did
Am
say
I
upgrade.
Yeah, but like STEM was said like 6 times. It's called STEM. And I think it sounds cooler than Upgrade. Or you can call it Upgrade 2.0.
2.0.
2 Upgrade, 2 Furious.
Give me another one.
No, that's all I got.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna come up with the top one.
Upgraded.
So many different realities here.
No, I don't like your yolks.
Okay. So yeah, thanks for watching.
Alright.
What's up? Welcome to Cineverm. It's brightest.
My pits are sweating.
Right in front of me.
I have this bird shit that I've melted.
Welcome to Cineverm. Weeds.
Cynic weeds? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well,